So welcome everyone. My name is Jennifer Walsh-Hopkins, and I am the academic coordinator for the social work program. And welcome to Trent University's virtual open house. We're so excited to have you at the social work section. So thanks so much for joining me. I will be kind of everything for you today. I'm your moderator, as well as the person who's going to be answering your questions and everything like that. Yeah, feel free to put those in the chat, and we will get to that today. I'm also very excited for the path ahead of you. We're looking forward to seeing you for so many reasons, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you the reasons why. Trent has been ranked the #1 undergraduate university in Ontario for 11 consecutive years. It's kind of crazy, really. When I started working at the university, that happened, and just year after year, I think Trent's really entrenching its place in Ontario and in Canada. So like I've said, during the session, you can ask questions in the chat and I will get to them towards the end. I've also enabled closed captioning. So if you would like closed captioning, there should be 3 little dots at the kind of bottom right of your screen. And if you click those, you should be able to see something that says show subtitles, and you can enable those subtitles. Just to let you know kind of a little bit more about our events. So on our events page, you'll see a few live chats happening today. So if any of those kind of pertain to you or you have questions, feel free to join along. So drop into the one that makes sense for you, and you can get your questions answered. Or there's a little chat bot on the main open house page. And if you put your question in there, the chat bot will do its best to get you answered back as well. So with that, we will get started. All right, I'm just gonna pull up my PowerPoint. So social work at Trent University. I'm so excited that that you're here to join me for it. I've worked in the department for going on kind of 3-4 years, and I absolutely love it. I think social work is such an important part of our social fabric, and really social workers, I think it's a wonderful profession, and I'm so excited to chat with students who have an interest in it. So the Trent University Social Work Program is a fully accredited program through the Canadian Association of Social Work Education. So we received our accreditation at the beginning of 2020, and that was very exciting. And that means when our graduates, or when our students graduate, you can go on and become a registered social worker. So you register with the Ontario College of Social Workers and Social Service Workers, and then you can officially call yourself a social worker. So that is awesome. You can also go on to MSW programs, PhD level programs in social work. So there's a lot of kind of space for you to move around and do social work kind of in the community or keep learning. So our program prepares graduates with the knowledge, values, and skills that are meaningful in a generalist practice. So social work at the BSW level is meant to teach you kind of a broad range of social work. The goal is to help you be employable in a number of different fields, a number of different areas. So if sorry, I'm just playing around with this. So if you have an idea in mind of kind of where you want to go with it, I mean, our goal is to introduce you to so many facets of social work. So even if you say don't land that dream job right out of university, you're going to have the skills to go in and do social work in a number of different areas, a number of different capacities, which I think is really beneficial, because if you pigeonhole yourself too early, and then you realize it's not something you love, or you really just want to diversify and you'd like to go somewhere else, and you don't have those skills, that really limits you. Whereas this really opens up a full kind of spectrum of opportunities for you. There's also, and I'm sure what most of you are most excited about, is our field placement. So we do offer over 700 hours of field placement in what we call the professional year, so years 3 and 4. So winter semester of year 3, you do placement, and it actually takes up a full credit, so two course worth. And then in your 4th year, you're doing placement all year, and that actually takes up 2 credits, so 4 courses. So 2 courses in the fall and 2 courses in the winter. So you're going to get a lot of experience in this program, especially starting in year 3. So the overview of the program, and this may apply to some of you kind of more directly. So if you're coming directly out of high school to Trent University, that's kind of I'm going to call it the traditional route, or if you're a transfer student. So I know many students, especially from a social service worker background, are interested in our program, and that would be the transfer route. So lots of different routes that students come to us, but the social work program at Trent is a BSW program, so a Bachelor of Social Work. It is a 4-year degree, so 20 credit honors degree, and it is available at both of our campuses. So both Peterborough and Durham is where you'll be able to access this program. So our program is broken up into kind of 2 separate sections. So the first 2 years of the program are what we call the more general years. And those are, you're going to be taking some social work courses. You're going to be taking the majority of your courses outside of social work. So often students do sociology, psychology, gender and social justice studies, Indigenous studies, lots of different options there. But you're going to be taking the majority of your courses outside of social work, but you will be taking 4 social work courses over those 2 years. And those are really important courses to focus on because they really lay the foundation for then the professional years. Now, going into the professional years is a competitive admissions process. So we actually do a secondary admissions process to the professional years, and that happens while you are at Trent University. So if you're a transfer student joining us today, that is something, the professional years are something that you only have access to when you're actually studying at Trent. So we do not admit transfer students directly into the professional years, because you'll be missing some of the admissions requirements. So you do need to be at Trent completing those admission requirements to have access to the professional year application. So just keep that in mind. And then the admissions consideration for the professional years are 10.0 credits, so 10 full credits, which you would accumulate over 2 years of full-time study. And then you need to have completed the 4 intro social work courses, which are Social Work 1000, 1001, 2001, and 2004. And you need to have achieved a 70% average in each of those social work courses, as well as a 70% cumulative average. And I recommend definitely aiming higher than the minimum, but that would be the minimum needed for consideration. And then the professional years admissions is limited. So we have 30 spaces at each of our campuses. So 30 at Peterborough, 30 at Durham. And if you are unsuccessful in being admitted, you can certainly apply again the next year. But we recommend that students also create a backup pathway for themselves so that you can continue on with your degree in another subject area. Also allows you to try again the next year, or you could also looking at completing a degree in a different subject matter and then looking at a master's degree, so master's of social work, because there are many programs that also will consider students who do not have the BSW. So lots of options that way. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say on that page. Yeah, so the other credits you'll be taking in your first year, like I said, so you'll take credits outside of the social work option as well. And then in the professional years is when you're really going to sink into social work. So virtually all of your courses in the professional years, so years 3 and 4, are social work based courses. So you take courses in theory and communication, research, Indigenous perspectives, diversity, identity, social location, community social work and social policy. And then you'll also be taking those practicum years, so those placement years. And placement in the social work program at Trent is assigned placement. So we actually have a placement coordinator who will do all of the placement work for you. So you'll be assigned a placement, but he has you fill out a pretty decent form that allows you to kind of fill out and let you know like what you're interested in. Now, we don't guarantee that we can always match you up with the ideal placement that you're looking for or in that field, but we will work with you and try to manage both what you're interested in, some really important learning perspectives that we want our students to get out of the program, but also the placements we have available. So if you wanted to work with an institution that we don't work with, that we don't have a placement with for that day, then we can't do that. So we do our best to kind of meet students where they are and to meet learning objectives for the program as well. So applying to Trent from high school, we're looking at your top 6 4U/M credits. A minimum of 70% overall average is what we'd be looking for in those top 6 4U/M credits. Also, we're looking that you have to have taken the English 4U, so all pretty standard for university admissions. And you can apply directly to the social work program, or you could apply if you're not sure and you wanted to apply to, sociology, psychology, that type of thing, but keep those options open. You don't have to be a social work major to apply to the professional years or to take those 4 social work courses. So you can be in a different major and maybe we will spark your interest and you'll be interested in pursuing the professional years. Yeah, so you can apply directly to social work through OUAC, or if you apply to something else, just know that the option is still open, that you can still pursue kind of the social work pathway if you're interested and keep those options open. If you're coming from a college pathway, we will require your official transcripts from any post-secondary institution that you've attended. You need a minimum grade of 70% in any college course for it to be considered like on a course-by-course transfer. And just know that college courses don't transfer over necessarily one for one. So sometimes it's a package of 3 or 4 courses that you've taken transfer to like 1 or 2 credits at the university. So just know that it's not necessarily one for one. And transfer credits are assessed once you've applied. So I'm not able to assess transfer credits or that type of thing until you've actually applied. I actually don't do the assessment anyways. That's all handled by our admissions team. But yeah, you do need to apply to get that information, just to make sure that we have kind of everything all sorted out and we're doing information appropriately based on your actual records. And then depending on what you've taken, a 2 or 3 year diploma can range for the types of credits that you're looking for, but most SSW students come in with either 5 or 6 transfer credits, which puts you into the 2nd year. And like I said, there's no direct entry into the professional years, and that's for anybody. Somebody could apply to Trent with a full degree and they're not getting direct access to the professional years. If you're coming from a university background, so you're at a different university and you're looking to transfer to Trent, and particularly social work, we're looking for a minimum grade of 60% in any university course to be considered for a course-to-course transfer. And oftentimes university courses do transfer over one for one. Sometimes they transfer over like a particular course to a particular course, but sometimes they're a little bit more general. So you might get an arts level year 1, that type of thing. Again, you need to apply to the university to actually get a full kind of transfer credit assessment. Yeah. And then social work. This has social work as kind of like a social aspect. So what it's like to be a social work student at the university. It certainly looked very different, as I'm sure everything has over the past 2 years. I know our students like getting together. Social work students do a lot of volunteering. They're very community justice focused and community focused. And that hasn't necessarily been as possible over the past few years. But getting together over Zoom. I think a lot of us have become way more proficient with Zoom and doing everything like that. So they are an engaged student body, and both at kind of the year 1 and year 2 level and the year 3 and 4 level. Year 3 and year 4, it's a little bit maybe easier to kind of see how they become a super close-knit group because you're in cohorts of 30 people, so you get to know those 30 people very well. But also, I was talking earlier this week with some first and second year students, and they've been talking how they're part of the social work society at the university and all of the cool things they're doing. And that was really neat to see just how involved our first and second year students were as well. So no matter what level you are at in kind of this process, there are ways to get involved, ways to meet people, and ways to really kind of further your social work education and potential career while you're at the university. So if you are looking for kind of contact information, I'll put that in the chat so that you can copy and paste it from there. But again, my name is Jennifer. I'm the academic coordinator for the social work program. So I manage all the questions coming in from prospective students, year 1 and year 2 students, professional year students, and I manage the admissions process into the professional years. So I hope that I can answer pretty much all of your questions about social work. And if I can't, or if it's a more general university question as well, I can either get the answer for you or I can get you to the right person. So don't ever hesitate to email me. And I'll put in, you can look for probably the best one to do. So my personal email address is jawalsh@trentu.ca. And then you could also, oh, Dana, I'm talking to you directly. I apologize for that. Okay, so here's my personal email address to everybody now. Paste. And then social work admissions is also a more general email box that I manage as well. But if for whatever reason I am off, this one goes more generally to kind of the whole office, our colleagues as well. So they'll be able to get back to you, or you can just go socialwork@trentu.ca and I will get that as well. So I've seen there's some questions in the chat. So I'm going to open that up and see. Actually, I don't see a huge amount of questions. Okay, the first question. So are the intro social work courses available during the summer or only during the fall and winter semester? Currently, they're only available during the fall and winter semester. So in the fall, we typically offer social work 1000 and social work 2004. And then in the winter, we offer social work 1001 and social work 2001. If you're an incoming first year student and you need to be in the program for 2 years, so you're coming directly from high school, that type of thing, you will have access to social work 1000 in the fall, social work 1001 in the winter. Say you don't do as well as you wanted to in those courses, you want to take them again the next year, you can take social work the 1000 level and social work 2000 levels at the same time. So say you wanted to redo your grade in 1000, but you also wanted to take 2004 to make sure that you don't get too far behind, you can do that. So those courses aren't mutually exclusive. You can do them at the same time once you have a couple of credits at the university. So that's certainly a possibility. But yeah, they are at this point only offered in the fall and winter. So another question, how does co-op program work for social work? So we don't offer a co-op option because we are a placement-based program. Co-op tends, in the traditional sense, tends to mean a paid placement, and your social work placements will not be paid. As part of kind of social work education, our accreditation, our standards, they are not paid placements. So you're going to be doing social work kind of practice out in the community, typically, that type of thing, but it's not paid. So it's a placement, but not paid work. Olivia, if that's kind of what you meant and you want me to elaborate a little bit more on the placements, just let me know, maybe give me a little bit more, kind of detail of what you're looking for. But yeah, you do placements in third year and in fourth year with placements that you're assigned via our field education coordinator. You also do a course back at the university alongside your placement. So typically every week or every other week is when they run, depending on how the professor wants to do that. And it's where you kind of debrief and talk about the things you're experiencing and talking about what's going on, and maybe something gets triggered for you. Maybe you're working with somebody and they bring up something for you that you're not sure how to handle. And you know, those are things that you need to learn as a social worker, because it very much is it can be emotional work and that type of thing. So you need to learn how to best serve your clientele and the people that you're working with. So working through kind of your own emotions and your own thought processes is really important. Also, kind of learning how other people would handle it, and learning from your professor. So it's a really great, and those tend to be smaller classes as well. So 15 people in those classes. If they break them up into every other week, they often break them up into kind of 7, 8 people in a class. So you really, really get some good kind of hands-on kind of tutorials in that capacity. So a question, what are the hours like for placements? So placements are 3 days a week and normal business hours. So kind of, you know, 8:30 to 4:30. So 7 hours per day for 3 days a week. In the winter for third year, they are typically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that you're going to be doing your placements. For the fourth year, all year, it would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that you'll be doing placements. And your placement should happen mostly during the day, but there may be an opportunity with your organization that there's something happening on the weekend or there's something happening in the evening. As long as it doesn't conflict with coursework or that type of thing, then you're more than welcome to participate in those, and those can be used for placement hours as well. So you can count those hours. You just can't miss class, for example. Also know that an organization shouldn't necessarily be able to expect that you come in kind of every Saturday, because that's not what we've negotiated, unless it is what we've negotiated. And then we would give that information to students and let them know that they would be okay with that. But I don't think I've ever run into that kind of issue. So there can be some outside of business hours opportunities that you can be a part of, but the expectation isn't there that you are going all evenings and weekends and that type of thing. So standard business hours throughout the work week. Okay, is the program available virtually? It is not available virtually. We have, over the past 2 years, been doing a number of our courses online, but from a pedagogical kind of practice belief, we really feel that our program is best delivered in an in-person setting as much as possible. So we do have some courses that are available online. We do offer some choice options in the third and fourth year, and we tend to kind of reserve 1 or 2 for online courses. Also, our first year course in the fall, so Social Work 1000, is actually an online course at the moment, and for the foreseeable future, it will remain in an online capacity. So there are some courses that are online, but you would not want to start in this program expecting that you can complete it online, because that is not the case. You will need to be in person attending one of our 2 campuses for the majority of your courses, as well as our placements are typically within about a 1-hour radius of each of our campuses. So that's really important that that you are close by. Okay, I think I've answered most of the questions so far. We still have 5 minutes, so if you're looking to have any other questions answered, throw them in the chat. But yeah, super excited that you all came. Thank you so much. Oh, what are the timings for in-person courses? They can range typically from kind of 8:30 in the morning to about 9:30 at night. We, as kind of a member of the university, we get scheduled along with the rest of the university. So courses really can range all day. And then when you're in the professional years and in a placement session, so winter of third year or all year for fourth year, your courses are congregated on the 2 days that you're not in placement. So you would have courses for 2 days and placement for 3 days. So those 2 days can be a little bit busier with kind of three courses and your placement seminar happening. But yeah, courses can happen really all day. I'll see if there's any more questions coming through the chat. And if this is a lot of information, you're just trying to take it all in, totally great. I have put my email addresses in there as well, so feel free to email at any point. Also, giving everyone time to focus. Okay, we've got one more question. Okay, so question of what happens if we don't get admitted to the professional years, because they are limited enrollment. So the advice that I would give to students looking to the professional years, definitely focus on your grades. Grades are important, particularly in those 4 social work courses. You definitely want to be putting in kind of your best effort into those courses, but as well as your overall average. So yeah, be focusing on your grades. There is also a 1,000 word critical thought essay that is part of the admissions process. So reflecting and thinking on your learnings, your life, and kind of why you want to be a social worker are all important components of that essay. And say you're not admitted. So the question is, would sociology, psychology, criminology function as potential fallback programs? The backup programs, my recommendation is choose a program that you would actually want to get a degree in. So if those 3 courses or programs for you are suitable degrees, then certainly those would be great options. But I wouldn't necessarily say that I would generally tell a full like a full lecture of students that if you don't get into the professional years, go into psych or go into soc, because that's not going to work for everybody. It's not going to be where everybody's interests lay, and it's not going to be where everyone's strengths are. So yeah, choose courses and a backup program that would be kind of best suited for you. Okay, so a question. So someone who has a schedule based on kids who have school that start at 8 a.m. And do you think that you can do this program in person? We have our student body within the social work program ranges from students that are like fresh out of high school to grandparents. So we have lots of different types of people in the program with lots of different types of family dynamics and makeups and everything like that. So certainly, I think you can do the program, but it may mean that you need to make special arrangements. So if you have a course on campus that starts at 8 a.m., you may need to figure out who can come and get your kids on campus. Can you get kind of before after school care and that kind of capacity? So it's whether you can kind of arrange what you need to ensure that that you can be successful. So yeah, I know that doesn't give you kind of a straightforward answer, but yeah, I think you can certainly be successful. It's just, I guess, what kind of supports you have in your life that you can access. So how long is each course? Most of our courses are scheduled for either like 2 to 3 hours. So I would say in the professional years, we schedule most of our courses for 3 hours. They may run a little bit shorter, kind of closer to the 2-hour mark. Sometimes they may run to kind of 2.5, 3 hours. There's often a break in the middle so that you can grab some food, go to the washroom, that kind of stuff. But I would say most university lectures run either the 2 to 3 hour, and then most seminars are going to run kind of the 1 hour. Our placement seminars, which we call placement seminars, but those are scheduled for kind of 2 to 3 hours as well. All right, so we are at the 1:30 mark. So thank you so much for coming. Let me make sure I've given you kind of all the information that we would like you to have. Yeah, it's been so lovely being here with you. Thank you so much for coming. I would like to invite you to visit our campus. We're doing in-person tours as well as hosting an in-person open house in the spring. So really looking forward to seeing people on campus again. I'm so excited. I used to be a tour guide, so I love our campus. I love our tours. They're so great. And so I would invite you all to come and hang out with us for a few hours and see how awesome both of our campuses are. They're both so exciting. You can register for those in-person tours as well as the in-person open house at the open house page. So you should see links for those as well. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the sessions that you're going to if you have more planned, or if I'm your last session. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us virtually at the Trent University open house. And I look forward to answering questions that you may have in the future. And I'm just going to see, I saw one more question just as I was giving you kind of my closing remarks. So how many courses per day? That really does range. Sometimes, well, it ranges. Some people may find it lucky, and sometimes you have 3 courses in one day and then you have a day with no courses, which is awesome. For other people, they may like to have 1 or 2 courses per day, but every day throughout the week. So it all depends on how our scheduling works and kind of how it works with the rest of the university. But it would be very rare, and I would probably make changes if you had 4 classes in one day. So you can probably anticipate not having 4 classes in one day, but kind of 1, 2, maybe 3 is certainly a possibility. Okay, well, thanks everybody. I look forward to hearing from you if you have any questions. So again, my name is Jennifer. My email addresses are in the chat, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much.